Everyone, this is the Sports Spiral, and in today's video, I am going to tell you my picks and my preview of Week 13 of college football. So there are some great matchups, including a slew of good ones today on Friday. So let's start with the Iowa State-Texas game. Iowa State is coming off a big win versus Kansas State, 45-0. So I think that proves to me that Iowa State is the best team in the Big 12 conference, and I'm picking Iowa State here. I've got them 27-23. I think Brock Purdy had a good game. Bruce Hall had a good game, and yeah, I think Iowa State can outmuscle Texas in this one. Next up, we have Notre Dame versus North Carolina. Notre Dame beat Clemson a few weeks ago now. And yeah, they're looking good. Their offense is looking great. Defense, it's okay, but I think they can win this one, but North Carolina gives them a fight, 41-30. This should be a high-scoring matchup. Two great offenses, and yeah, I think Ian Book can play well, and so can Sam Howell for the Tar Heels. So yeah, I think Notre Dame wins, but North Carolina can keep it relatively close. Okay, next up we have Oregon versus Oregon State. Oregon has not had it easy so far by any measure. They've been pretty tight games with the poor defense showing. Their offense isn't looking too bad at all. But I've got Oregon 34-24 over Oregon State. I think they'll start to find some footing defensively. And yeah, they'll win this one by about 10 points. That's my guess. So those are the three Friday games I picked. Now let's move on to the Saturday games. So we're going to start with an SEC matchup between Florida and Kentucky. Florida will get tight end Kyle Pitts back for this week, so that will probably boost their offense. So I think they can put up 40 points versus this Wildcat defense. The passing game is just looking so great for them. But Kentucky is going to be able to score 23 here, or maybe even more. I know this sounds a little outlandish for a Kentucky offense that has had its fair share of struggles for this year, but the Florida defense is really struggling, and they really need to find their footing soon, or they're going to be doomed at the SEC championship. Okay, then we move on to Ohio State coming off that close win versus Indiana, and I think they'll be able to handle Illinois here, 44-20. Illinois is not looking like a very good team this year, and Ohio State, I think they can roll over. Justin Fields will have a good game through the air, through the ground. He's looking great on both sides, but he did throw some interceptions versus Indiana, but I think he can recover from those this week. Next up, we have another Big Ten matchup. Indiana coming off the close loss, and that's actually something I think they should be very happy about. I think they can be the Maryland Terrapins, although the Terrapins will give Indiana a fight because they have quarterback Talia Tagovailoa, which is Tua's brother. So 38-27, Indiana is my pick. Just too much offense for Indiana. Michael Penix Jr. is looking really good. Then next up we have Michigan versus Penn State, a matchup of two fallen teams. These teams used to be top 10 teams just a year or two ago, but not anymore. So Michigan is 2-3. Penn State is 0-5. Combined, they are 2-8. That is pretty rough. Although Michigan might have found a good quarterback with Cade McNamara, and I think that can help them win this game. They have a pretty good running game as well. So I've got Michigan 31-27. I've just seen more stuff that I like about Michigan than I have about Penn State because Penn State doesn't have a single win. So I've got Michigan in a close one. Then we move to the SEC where Missouri is taking on Vanderbilt, and Missouri needs to make sure not to sleep on Vanderbilt in this one. Vanderbilt, though they've gotten blown out a few times and they're 0-7, they have contested some matchups and they seem to be improving as quarterback Ken Shields is looking good. So I think Missouri will win the game, but a close one, 31-23. Missouri, it's my pick. Okay, we have a classic rivalry in the SEC, Alabama versus Auburn, the Iron Bowl. And Auburn not looking quite as good as they were last year. Alabama probably looking better than they were last year this time. So, yeah, Mac Jones is looking great. The defense is starting to look good. For Auburn, their run defense had some struggles, but their defense is pretty good. And their offense is sometimes it looks really good and sometimes it looks inconsistent. So I've got Alabama here 37-24. I just don't trust the Auburn offense enough to win this game or their defense enough. Alabama's too good. 37-24 Alabama. Next up, Clemson is back after their game was postponed with FSU. So now they'll take on Pitt and we'll get to see Trevor Lawrence back in action. So that will be fun. And I think they should handle the Panthers pretty easily here. 44-24, I think they can. The Pitt Panthers can get 24 points because they are one of the better teams in the ACC. But it should be a pretty easy win for Clemson. It's going to be fun to see Trevor Lawrence back in action. Then we have Northwestern coming off their big win versus Wisconsin. They're taking on Michigan State, two pretty defensive teams. And I've got Northwestern here handling the Spartans 27-10. I think Ramsey is looking pretty good, and so it's that defense for the Northwestern Wildcats. So yeah, I've got Northwestern pretty big in this one. Okay, then we have the Egg Bowl, the Ole Miss Mississippi State matchup, and Ole Miss is looking great offensively and bad defensively. They have looked like that the entire season, so not too much of a change for them. But Mississippi State, they started out looking good with a win over LSU, but that really didn't mean much, and they're coming back now. They found a good quarterback with Will Rogers, and I think they can keep this one pretty close versus Ole Miss, but I think too much offense from the Rebels. I've got Ole Miss 42-33. Okay, then we have Texas A&M versus LSU. Not too long ago, this game went into 7 overtime or something like that, but not this year. Texas A&M is looking like a really good team. I didn't expect them to be this good coming into the year. I thought they were going to be 8th or 9th. But no, they are a top 5 team, and Kellen Mond is looking great. The running game's looking great, so I think they can post 38 points. LSU's offense with TJ Finley, I just don't think they can do enough to keep this one close. I've got Texas A&M 38-24. Then we have Georgia versus South Carolina. Georgia came off a close win versus Mississippi State last week, but they found a quarterback in JT Daniels, and that is the important part of that game, and I think he will perform well again versus the struggling South Carolina Gamecocks. I've got Georgia big in this one, 34-14. It should be a pretty easy win for the Bulldogs. So that is going to do it for my picks this week. There were some great games, and I will come back with a review for this in a few days. So please make sure to subscribe, like, and check out my other channels. This has been the Sports Spiral. Bye.